We're going to do an intro where we all try to do the accent, folks. All right, let's get ready for that.
Yeah, no. Jesus.
I didn't write one. Don't worry.
All right, perfect. If we have local recordings going, I have local recordings going, I have the Zencaster going, I will count us in. 3, 2, 1, mark. Beautiful. Hello and welcome to another bonus episode of Kill James Bond. I am November Kelly. I am joined, as always, by my friends Abigail Thorn and Devon.
Hello, this is a podcast. You don't really know us. It's a parasocial relationship. This is not a conversation you're a part of.
Or is it?
Do you hear me distancing you, listener? It's a distance.
Yeah.
Befriendung's effect.
Actually, can we just leave in all of the stuff that we were doing before we did the sync point and everything, just to really show you can see us construct the architecture around it. Yeah, so this is my bonus pick, and I picked a film called The Wonder that I really like. This is one of those things where you'll become closer to me as a person, having listened to my thoughts about it. But I was also really, really curious to see what my two best friends thought about it. And I think this is a movie that really rewards being talked about by a philosopher and a scientist by training, right?
Yeah, but and an actor too.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's fucking Brecht. It's Brecht shit. We're doing Brecht shit.
Yes.
The befriending your ass on Brechtian Twitter.
We're going Brechtian.
Yeah.
I guess I am a scientist by training. I forget about that sometimes.
Yeah.
That's why we have a science-based system on this.
That's right. Yeah.
It's not a philosophy-based system.
You literally taught science. You taught biology.
Yes, that is true. I taught biology to A level.
Yeah.
I just like, oh yeah, I remember.
You taught them that there were two sexes only, that they're immutable. Yeah.
That's right.
And so naturally, a movie about science and about children and about biology, this has some implications, I think.
Yeah.
This is a movie by a Chilean director called Sebastián Lelio. I really like a lot of his work. However, for some reason, I'm really into Chilean films. I have no idea why. I really liked his movie Gloria. But he also did a transgender social issue movie.
Yes, he did.
Called A Fantastic Woman.
He won an Oscar for that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is good.
The thing about A Fantastic Woman is, I would say, if you are a cis person, watch it. If you're a trans person, you will learn nothing new, but you will also be re-traumatized, as was my experience.
Yes, that's a very fair review.
It's a rough watch. And yeah, it did a lot materially for trans rights in Chile. So, we appreciate him for that. But I would kind of give it a miss if you want to have a relaxing time. But so yeah, I'm fond of this director. I'm fond of the screenwriter as well, Alice Birch, who also wrote Lady Macbeth, also with Florence Pugh. So I have high expectations for this, and it's sort of in a setting that I like. But we begin with a brilliant piece of, I guess we should explain a bit of Brecht, right? We should explain a Verfremdungs effect, right? Mm-hmm. So Verfremdungs effect, it means a distancing effect. What it means is Bertolt Brecht, the German 20th century playwright, is telling you while you are watching a play, hey, you are watching a play right now. Mm-hmm. You are being reminded that this is an artificial construction, and you are being reminded that it's not real life. You should not suspend your disbelief, and instead you should engage with it on a more conscious level, right? And so the opening shots of The Wonder are the set of The Wonder from the outside.
It's worth mentioning too that Brecht was explicitly Marxist, and his development of these techniques was aimed at getting people to achieve class consciousness. A common Brechtian effect might be to, instead of having a table on the stage, you would have a piece of cardboard with the word table written on it. So it's constantly reminding you that you're watching a play. And what he wanted to happen from that is that people would begin to question the stories that they are told and the ways in which they are told them. But yeah, he was explicitly trying to do class consciousness, and we can debate whether or not he was really successful in doing that. But that's where the idea comes from.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. And this is also the first point at which the film is, let's say, a little bit deceptive, right? Because you have an opening narration by an as yet unintroduced character who talks about the value of stories, right? And how people across like different times and cultures use stories to make sense of their lives, their environments. And that a story is fundamentally a question of belief, right? And the big line of this monologue, as you're seeing the outside of the set, is
We are nothing without stories. And so we invite you to believe in this one.
And this is a movie about belief, but it is inviting you to believe in something while using the tools of sort of like distancing you from it, right?
Yes, you're not even on set at the point where they're like, we invite you to believe in this story.
Mm-hmm.
It invites you to believe in something that it will show you is not true.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And also, interestingly, I mean, this monologue explicitly breaks the fourth wall. The opening line is,
Hello. This is the beginning. The beginning of a film called The Wonder.
I love this type of shit. I
It's
love it.
so
I cannot
cool.
get enough of it.
yeah. And then so we turn around and then the camera starts traveling into the set.
Mhm.
And we hear that it's 1860 and
1862. It is 1862.
1862.
As they say in a unusually both sides line.
The Great Famine still casts a long shadow, and the Irish hold England responsible for that devastation.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I would say I also hold
Yeah.
the English responsible for the Great Famine in that I'm aware that we did it.
History
Yeah,
like holds the English responsible.
that is a fact.
Yeah, the books tend to hold the English responsible.
This is a kind of key piece of context for this, is that every Irish
Yes.
person that you will see in the film The Wonder is the survivor of a genocide, right? Or an attempted
Yes.
genocide. And this is going to play a part in their beliefs, their stories, and their values, right?
When Florence Pugh goes back to the pub and she complains about the village being like a backwoods village.
Yeah.
And the owner of the pub is just like, he says, prove it's nonsense and then fuck off home. So we get this idea that like, they're not really interested in the truth per se.
Mhm.
They're interested in how they can use it,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess that's stories, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Indeed.
What is the medicine that she takes?
Gotta be
Laudanum.
laudanum. 100% laudanum. She's got a pair of baby's shoes, never worn.
Never worn. Fuck off. Mostly, this is a kind of a difficulty and a thing of interest about the film to me, is that mostly this is a film about nothing happening.
Yes.
In that she watches the kid for like half the day, and the nun watches for the other half. They don't see her eat. She doesn't find any like food concealed because she searches later on, and instead she just kind of watches her pray. She watches her like look at her like saint prayer cards.
Florence Pugh goes to
Yes.
Kitty, who's Anna's older sister, and says, can you tell me what the last thing Anna ate was? What was the last meal she had?
We mentioned it earlier. She took the Eucharist.
And Florence Pugh says, oh, so just like water and wheat then? And Kitty says, no.
No.
The flesh and blood of Christ.
Absolutely not. Yeah, exactly. She doesn't. Elizabeth, as presumably a Protestant, does not believe in transubstantiation, and you are confronted once again with the tangibility and imminence of Catholic religious belief. Right? It's like Flannery O'Connor said about the Eucharist, about the host. Like, if it's just a symbol, then damn everything. Right? Like, it is the sort of like the sinecure.
Yeah.
Of these people's lives, right? Like this is a very, very like proximate thing. Also, at this point, you go, wait a second, this woman Kitty, who is like, sort of knee deep in a peat bog digging, I recognize her voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wait a fucking minute. Yeah.
That's because she was doing the narration at the start of, we invite you to believe in this story. So she's playing double duty as the narrator.
She turns to the fourth wall at this point. It's just like, are you enjoying the movie? You'll love what comes next. Like she does the Trump meme.
But like sly little smile as she like she lets her eyes fall on the camera, and for a second you think it's a mistake, and then she just like starts smiling at you, and you're like, oh, hey, hi.
Hello there.
Yeah, whoa, sorry, I'm trying to watch this.
Hello again. Like, I told you, it's all a story.
I forgot this was a conversation between me and the movie.
The way that she owns Elizabeth there is Elizabeth like writes down in her like notebook, in her case book, like presumably that Anna has just eaten like wheat bread.
I'm here for facts, she said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she goes, she essentially like says, oh, that's like a nice book of stories you've got there. It's like it's almost like a Bible kind of like really like hammering
Yeah,
thing.
this was kind of a little heavy-handed.
Little, yeah. Does get her ass, though.
Yeah, it does.
Or a few does walk away.
After taking some laudanum that night, and after having had another conversation with the journalist, who calls her an actress, by the way, which quite, she has this like moment of revelation, right? This is the kind of thing that like in the movie you're expecting this to be, perhaps. This comes half an hour later, right? An act later, where it's like, this is the big thing that like changes the thing. Not entirely. Not in this case. Her triumph of reason here, her like working out that what is happening is that her mother is like chewing food and like feeding it to her like from her mouth to hers like a bird.
Yes.
That's only gonna kick off more things, right? So she has this revelation. She forbids contact, and the mother is like, well, a mother's kiss is sacred, and she's like, I don't give a fuck, I'm the science cop.
Yeah.
Will gives Anna a zoetrope, which is,
Yes.
if you know anything about the history of movies, is like,
yes,
that's what movies started out as. He gives her this like piece of card. On one of her side it has a bird, on the other side it has a cage, and you spin it on a string, and it creates a visual illusion of the bird inside the cage.
Out. In. Out. In.
And Anna says, is it trapped or is it free? And Will says, well, that's for you to decide. And it's like, that's what you're actors in a movie. That's you.
Will says, are you familiar with the concept of quantum superposition?
Yeah,
Which is somewhat related, because she goes to see the doctor in the next scene, and he says, as he's like theorizing that maybe she's photosynthesizing or whatever, the great discoveries of science have always seemed like black magic at first.
it's fucking Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so Liv is not popular at this point because she is fucking, well, she's an English woman starving an Irish child again, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of generally known.
She's trying not to as well. She's like,
Yes.
she tries to tell him, you've got to end this charade. This is ridiculous. And Toby Jones is just like, you're a nurse. You're not able to make these kinds of diagnoses. Fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Your job is to watch, motherfucker.
Your job is to watch. It's just a movie.
Yeah. Because it's a film, because you just have to watch. Whoa!
Watch the film.
I think what it's doing is that it's drawing out the case that, like, distinct from both science and religion, the kind of the prize here, if you like, is reason, right? Or truth, or like rationality or objectivity. And so ultimately, when the doctor is like, oh, maybe she's fucking photosynthesizing, I don't know. He's not being scientific. He's not inquiring about anything. He's like quite the opposite. He's like losing his sort of sense of reason. Whereas what Sister Michael is doing, she's deploying her sense of reason in a deceptive way, right? To like, and then sort of like covering over it with the kind of religious explanation.
It's good.
It's really good. But so Liv, it like ultimately is allowed to leave with having been like cheated out of her fee, and she goes to Dublin. No, so she sees that Will has, of course, rescued Nan. They have a new life for themselves in Dublin, and they're preparing to, as they do, flee with new identities to Australia. And as they get on the boat with their new names, we see Nan like eating on the boat.
A big cake. She's a lovely cake.
Yeah, and we get a voiceover that says it is
all over the empire. Are not children left to lie down and die in ditches and gutters every night of the year? It is a whole sorrowful world that's too hungry to see the wonder in every ordinary child.
which again it's the motherhood statement, but good.
There's a really incredible shot as we are hearing the Telegraph article about this, which contains that line. And the article says that all over the empire, this sort of thing happens, like, because it's this awful world. There's this amazing shot as Florence Pugh walks past a butcher in the street.
Yeah.
And this guy's like hacking apart like a lot of meat. Then we pan across and we see that there are children living in the street next to this. And it's like, yes, just systematic butchery of children because they refuse to see the wonder in them and they just want to control them. Yes.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the final thing that happens is we pull back and the camera turns around and we see it's a movie set again. And the actor who plays Kitty is there in just normal clothes.
Yeah. Just staring down the barrel of the camera.
So good.
Again, to sort of ask the question, does the kind of like subjective reality of a story like matter to you? Is it sort of like worth respecting these beliefs, right?
Pulls you out. It's like, to be clear, none of that happened. That was, we made that up.
Yeah.
We made that up.
Pure fiction.
Pure
It was
fiction.
pure fiction.
It
didn't
never
happen.
happened.
What do you think about
What do you
it?
reckon?
Yeah. I don't say this uncritically, right? Because I think there is like a critique you can make of it along these lines. But I think this movie is a very effective appeal to reason and objectivity, but also conscience, if that makes sense.
Mm.
And that's something that I really like about it, and I think is really striking about it, you know?
It made me want to say a lot of things that I cannot publicly say because it would be a crime to say that.
Yeah, like going Cromwell mode.
No, I know, just mean about that, like as a joke. I mean about like our current leaders
sure.
of the NHS and of political party. It made me want to say a lot of things that would be crimes to say.
Yeah, absolutely.